How long were you in prison?
I was in prison 15 years.
In your younger days,
Yes,
recently?
ma'am. Went to prison when I was 18 in 1992, and
Okay.
went and they gave me a 15-year sentence, and I did the whole 15-year sentence. Got out in 2007. Here it is, 2011, and God is prospering my life. He always call you out of what He wants you to go back in and reach. And so prison ministry is my passion. My God.
So what is your big message to prisoners that are coming out?
My big message to the prisoners that are coming out is this. What you do when you're in prison is what you're going to do when you get out of prison.
Top of the day to you. This is Esther Davis. Guess where we are this time? One of our favorite places to tape the show. We're at the home of the Mighty Tigers, Lincoln High School. I'm here with my favorite crew, and they're making noises and sounds behind the camera, but we're awfully happy, as always, to be here. You know what? We're going into the month of March. It will probably be the month of March, and you're watching this show. But we have the Caring for a Person with Alzheimer's Disease book. It is from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the National Institute on Aging. Guess what? Guess what? This book is free. It's about 100 pages because now we know that there are millions of Americans out there that are taking care of someone with some form of autism, some form of Alzheimer's. This is strictly an Alzheimer's disease book. And basically it says your easy to use guide from the National Institute on Aging. We're going to put up the address. We're doing commercials. We're very passionate about this cause because we want Alzheimer's patients taken care of. And along with some of the other special things that are going on this month, I'm losing my crew from Lincoln High School, and before we end this particular show, I will be saying thanks to each and every one of them. I'm not losing my voice. I've just been using it a lot the last couple of days. I have a very, very special guest. He's someone extremely special. I've known him for a little while, but he has an awful lot going on in his ministry, in his life, in the community, in the state of Texas. Please welcome my special guest, the Pastor Ken Hartfield. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
Great, great.
Good. It's good to see you.
Glad to see you again.
You were in a studio with us a couple of years ago.
Yes, ma'am. That's
with
correct.
With a whole lot of people.
Yes, yes.
We packed the studios, and we were talking about something to do with prison ministries with Pastor, what's his name?
Shahid.
Shahid.
Yes, ma'am.
How you been?
I've been wonderful. Wonderful.
Good. And now you're the senior pastor
Yes, ma'am.
of the exciting
Full Table of Fellowship Church.
Full Table. Now that's a sort of a different name.
Yes, ma'am.
We have Full Gospel. We have Full this. Why
Yes,
Full Table?
Well, it came from the metaphor when Jesus was at the table with the disciples. And at the table with the disciples, there was all type of people at the table. There was, per se, if I can bring it up to our modern day time, there was drunks and all kind of people from different walks of life. And at the table, they was fellowshipping.
Okay.
In other words, no matter what type of person you are, what your background look like, you can fellowship at the table.
Right.
And so the name came Full Table of Fellowship. That's how the church was birthed out in the ministry.
You know, a lot of people will say, oh, we got so many churches right now. I mean, they're on every corner. We are all over all of the new cities we're in. They're everywhere. What makes your church different?
At our church, for number one, Jesus is Lord.
Okay.
Number two, we're not a denomination, quote unquote. And number three, there's no dress code.
There's no dress code?
No dress code. You can come as you are, because oftentimes people try to clean the fish before they catch it.
Okay.
And
so you want to
Jesus-
catch it first and then clean it up.
Yes. And see, Jesus is not concerned about your clothes. He's more concerned about your soul.
Okay.
And so you can come there with us, and dress code and that judgmental stuff wouldn't be a factor.
And you have people there from all denominations, all colors, all cultures.
All races, all colors, black, green, you name it.
What is that going to do to the traditional church? I'm wondering. I'm just wondering out loud.
What it's going to do is, if I forget real quickly, I heard a Muslim guy. He said that he would not go into a synagogue with
Right.
just one race of people, and it kind of stuck with me that because the church that we should have should be all kinds of race, all kind of people with different backgrounds. Even
Agree.
corporate America can come there. And when Jesus comes, he's not coming for a black church, not a white church, not
That's
a
true.
green church. He's coming for a blood-bought church. And that's what we exemplify at Full Table Fellowship.
You're a little passionate.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a little passionate. Well, I do agree with Pastor Ken. I tend to call him Pastor Ken because our world is changing
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. I went to a meeting not too long ago, and they have now at the Dallas Police Department, we have
Okay.
18 major languages
Wow.
in our midst. 18.
Wow.
So, are you doing anything with languages? How are you handling the language? Or is it a barrier to you? I mean, you're thinking it's so different.
It's really not because I had a young lady that came, an older elderly lady that came in, and she couldn't speak no Spanish. But I'm telling you, she could understand what I was saying
In the pulpit.
In the pulpit. But I got a Spanish interpreter that can interpret, that can help me in that office, and so it's not a problem.
So you're not intimidated by all of
No,
these
ma'am,
languages?
not at all. Because
Not
the Spirit of the Lord will give interpretation.
The Spirit of the Lord will give it. My guest is Pastor Ken Hartfield, and he has this exciting church in Garland, Texas. And I heard you say something the other day about it being in the center
Yes.
of Garland and the center of Texas.
Yes.
It is fast growing out there.
Oh, yes. I mean, people are just driving by and just say, hey, man, we saw the sign, and they're coming in,
Really?
and they're flooding the doors. People are looking for something new
All right.
and something vibrant. And with that church, with that end-time church that God is calling on right now.
I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to come back. I'm talking to Pastor Ken Hartfield. We're going to talk about the different races of people that are coming into our midst. We're going to talk a little bit about your prison ministry, your homeless ministry. You have all of these ministries. Is that too much ministry?
Oh.
I'll be right back. You're watching the Esther Davis Show. Don't go away.
Fuel Fuel is an all-natural sports drink with a 4-to-1 protein to carbohydrate ratio. Unlike sports drinks that are loaded with sugar and no nutritional benefit, Fuel Fuel has 26 vitamins and minerals, natural color and flavor, and no preservatives. Fuel Fuel with protein to build muscle, carbohydrates for energy, electrolytes, antioxidants, and less than 1 gram of sugar. Fuel Fuel is rated #1 by Dr. Roy Vardabedian, author of New York Times bestseller NutriPoints. Don't give your body just sugar and water. Fuel Fuel is the smart choice.
Do you have a loved one with Alzheimer's disease? Would you know? Caring for a person with Alzheimer's disease. 136 pages of information you need. This book is produced by the National Institute on Aging in association with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This publication is free. You only pay shipping and handling. If you have an older loved one, you need this information. Call now 214-376-9000. That's 214-376-9000. Or go to estherdavis.com.
And we're back with a passionate pastor. He is Pastor Ken Hartfield with Full Table. And I can remember that name because it's
Yes.
so very different. We were talking about the language barrier in our country today, especially in our state. Texas is now the #2 state with so many languages, so many cultures. The Census Bureau now, Census tells us that we've got all of these people coming into our midst. And you are one of the changing pastors that we admire because you've got all people coming to your church. Is that a problem?
It's not a problem. It's a bit much of a challenge. And
You don't like the word problem?
No, I don't like the word problem. I
okay.
like more of a challenge.
Okay.
The language barrier is not a problem for me because they even have technology now, Sister Davis, that if someone come in and speak Chinese, you can speak your singing language, English, and it can be interpreted as Chinese as well.
Okay.
But
True.
I operate better more with an interpreter to interpret that language, not a problem.
Now, you were telling me about a lady during the break, a lady
Yes.
that came into, what about the lady?
Oh, there was a Hispanic lady that came in, and I'll never forget her because she didn't speak no English. She only spoke Spanish. And when it comes to the part to give God some praise, she would be the first one to jump up and give God praise.
In Spanish.
In Spanish. As if she understood. I'm going to say as if I knew she understood what I was saying. And then later on, we got a Spanish interpreter to interpret what I was saying. And I love how passionate she was, because she would come up and just say bonito, bonito, and I would mean beautiful service and so forth, so on.
So she got into the service even though she did not speak any English.
Oh yes, the spirit that is in me and the spirit that's in her and the spirit that's in the Lord will bear witness and interpret to what it needs to be said.
Let me ask you a question outside the church. All of the things that are going on in the world today,
Yes.
in your mind and your way of thinking, are you addressing any of that? Do you talk about, let's say, the war that's going on in these countries? Let's talk about the price of gas.
I believe sometimes we can get so spiritually minded that we're no earthly good.
Okay.
And what that means is, I even teach my leaders, I said, the Bible is all that we need, but it's not everything that we need. In other words, you should see what's going on in the community by watching the news, reading newspapers, going out to different functions, and to know what is, how better to be effective and to reach the community. We must be educated on what's going on in our community to be more effective. We can't just preach, and not be effective in a person's everyday life and what's going on. So yeah, I think we should be in touch with what's going on.
You got a lot of ministries.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a full plate, but you're a full table.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right, it's a full plate. You have something
Yes.
like 7 ministries?
Yes, but well, just on the surface, mainly on the surface, we have prison ministry, outreach ministry. We have homeless ministry. We have street ministry, food pantry ministry. We have a widows ministry, nurse.
A widows ministry.
Yes, ma'am. Widows. That's a great ministry that is overlooked by a lot of.
I don't think I've ever
ministries.
heard of it before.
Yes, and Jesus, He give us a command to take care and look after the widows.
Okay.
And so
Yeah,
that's
you're
some
right,
ministry.
you're right,
Oh
you're
yes.
right.
That's a powerful ministry.
What are you doing with homeless? Just give me a brief sentence on, let's say, the homeless ministry.
Like, for instance, for Christmas, we had a blankets ministry.
What?
A blanket ministry.
A blanket.
Yes, blanket ministry. Where we went up under the bridges where it was cold, and we gave blankets. We gave pillows, and we called that a blanket ministry.
Okay.
Because they have food, because everyone is giving food during Christmas.
But they don't have a blanket.
But they don't have
or
a blanket.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
we fill in the gaps.
Now, did you physically go yourself, or did you send
Yes,
somebody?
I'm a hands-on.
Yes, I went and your hands
Yes, I'm a hands-on. Yes, ma'am.
We're laughing because we have a crew in the studio with us.
Yes.
And, of course, this is the Lincoln High School Tigers, and they're getting a real kick out of just listening to you
Yes.
talk. Now, prison ministry is closer to your heart.
Yes, I have a passion for prison ministry.
How long were you in prison?
I was in prison 15 years.
In your younger days,
Yes,
recently?
ma'am. Went to prison when I was 18 in 1992, and
Okay.
went and they gave me a 15-year sentence, and I did the whole 15-year sentence. Got out in 2007. Here it is, 2011, and God is prospering my life. He always calls you out of what He wants you to go back in and reach. And so prison ministry is my passion. My God.
So what is your big message to prisoners that are coming out?
My big message to prisoners that are coming out is this. What you do when you're in prison is what you're going to do when you get out of prison. If you played dominoes, if you shot dice, if you hustled in prison, that's what you're going to do when you get out of prison. Me, I didn't do time, I used time. Wow.
Now you know why he's a guest on my show. He's Pastor Ken Hartfield. And we're talking about everything to do with the community and people. Our communities are changing.
Yes.
We used to have all black communities, all white communities. We used to have what some people call the best communities,
Yes.
the worst communities. So what is happening now? What are you teaching your people now about the change in our communities?
I'm teaching my people in our community is that change starts with us first. For instance, like every year that come around, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, everyone made New Year's resolutions.
Whoa.
And here it is, nothing became new because the first thing, before you can get something new, you have to become new first.
Okay. Okay.
The change starts with you. And I told my people, instead of saying new resolution, you do something new. You become new. Because when you become new, there's new opportunities, new destinies, new connections,
Right.
new prosperous, new. And so that's what I teach my people, to become change and new resolution. You become change and everything around you change.
Let's talk about technology. You told me the other day when we stopped to have lunch Well, I just went in and you were there.
Yes.
And we got to talking and dialoguing. You're on Facebook. You have
Twitter.
all of these, Twitter. You have these fancy phones. You do all of that stuff. Now, one of my hot buttons is that we have a lot of people in leadership. I'm not talking about ministers per se. A lot of people in leadership that have no idea what this is about.
Wow.
Should we be getting on board, or is it going to go away? I guess the
Yes.
question is, it's not going to go away.
Yes, trust me. You have a lot of pastors that are clicking in and moving with technology.
Okay, good.
For instance, Facebook. Had I not been introduced to Facebook, I would not have been invited to preach in Africa. I just came back from Oklahoma. Next month, I'm going to Atlanta. And, you know, a lot of doors are opening through technology. I mean, even study time as a sermon, that the click of one button, I can, you know, my whole sermon homework is kind of done for me. And so
Really?
oh yes, they give me more. I'm not getting sermons and preaching them off the internet, but the technology helped my study of one word, like Greek and Hebrew and lexicon, with just a click of one button. And you know, time is more precious than money now.
Yes, it is.
And more
Oh,
valuable.
yes, it is.
So technology, you have to get on board with technology.
He's Pastor Ken Hartfield. We're putting his church up on the screen where it's located. You got to go visit. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We'll be right back with final words from Pastor Ken Hartfield. That's great. Yeah.
Fuel Fuel is an all-natural sports drink with a 4-to-1 protein to carbohydrate ratio. Unlike sports drinks that are loaded with sugar and no nutritional benefit, Fuel Fuel has 26 vitamins and minerals, natural color and flavor, and no preservatives. Fuel Fuel with protein to build muscle, carbohydrates for energy, electrolytes, antioxidants, and less than 1 gram of sugar. Fuel Fuel is rated #1 by Dr. Roy Vardabedian, author of New York Times bestseller NutriPoints. Don't give your body just sugar and water. Fuel Fuel is the smart choice.
Do you have a loved one with Alzheimer's disease? Would you know? Caring for a person with Alzheimer's disease. 136 pages of information you need. This book is produced by the National Institute on Aging in association with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This publication is free. You only pay shipping and handling. If you have an older loved one, you need this information. Call now 214-376-9000. That's 214-376-9000. Or go to estherdavis.com.
We're having a lot of fun in the studio today. We shoot our shows probably in 3 studios around Dallas, Fort Worth, and Arlington. But when we get to Lincoln High School, we know we have a special treat going on because aren't these guys great?
Yes, great crew.
They're a great crew.
Yes.
All right, let's get back to Pastor Ken Hartfield and the changing world. And people are not going to church. We only have about 45% of Americans going to church now. That's the latest statistic.
Wow.
How do we get people back to church?
Well, first you have to find out what the problem is. The problem is people have gotten burnt out from just the normal church.
Burn out. Oh, okay, the normal church.
The normal church.
Okay.
People are looking for something that are more vibrant, the more, and I believe that to get the people back into the church, Ms. Davis, is the evangelize.
Evangelize.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
mean getting outside of the church?
Getting outside of the church, outside of the 4 walls.
Oh, okay.
Going out and reach them, you know, on the streets, on the corners, in corporate America, on our jobs, in the marketplace, at Walmart.
At Walmart. Now, okay, now, Pastor Ken, we have built these huge, fabulous
Yes.
churches,
Wow.
cathedrals. We have large, massive churches. I did a story on it a couple of years ago. We had something like 1,200
Yes,
1,200
Yes.
churches that will hold over
Yes.
10,000 people in this country.
yes.
So now you're saying we shouldn't be there?
No. We should be there, but I believe we shouldn't sit there.
Oh, okay. All right.
I believe we should get up out of our comfortable zone and not forget where we came from and go back and reach those that are still trying to come up to where we are at. What we're doing is we're getting full of the word, getting full of these 7 points and 3-point sermons, but we're not going out and sharing the gospel or the good news or how our lives have really changed.
Right.
And when we do that, some people have given up on church. They've given up on God.
Well, they don't believe everything that's going on. I mean, let's take some of the faiths we've had. There's a lot of discrepancies that
Yes.
come up in churches.
Yes.
So that's driving people away.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know if that's the primary cause, but it's one of the causes.
Uh-huh.
So we got to get them back.
We
have
have
children
to.
that don't even know Bible verses.
Yes. Yes, yes. And what happened is you have a lot of people that have been hurt in the church.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so we have to bring healing by going and reach them in their hurting place and say, listen, you may have been hurt by some man or some church, but all churches are not like that. We bring healing. We bring healing.
At Full Table, you bring healing.
We bring healing at Full Table Fellowship.
All
We,
right.
we come to heal you. We don't come with tradition. We don't come trying to tell you, well, you need to do this and do that. We come with the word of God, which will bring healing.
Okay.
Because the Bible says in John 15:3 that the word will wash us and make us clean. And so that's what we do. We come bring healing to a hurting world.
Immigration. I'm doing a series now on immigration. We get into series, and we get into the series because of the masses of people that call for this to be done. Immigration is big.
Yes.
Not necessarily for African Americans or for Anglos, but it's still big because these people want these people. That's not a good term,
Yes.
but they should be integrated into our society. They should not be. What are you saying as a leader about immigration?
As a leader, I'm saying that I believe that every person should have the same opportunity as you and I. I believe that. I know
Boy,
we
that's
have-
going to be an open, controversial
I know it.
subject.
I know we have multiculturals and everything, but I believe, hey, if they're over here, if they made it over here, hey, let's give them equal opportunity. You know, let's help them.
That's what America is all about.
Exactly. And the church, especially the church,
Okay, especially
should,
the church.
should reach out to them and say, hey, listen, you're over here. Hey, you made it over here. Let us help and reach you right where you at.
Talking about immigration, talking about everything,
Everything.
with Pastor Ken Hartfield. The other ministry is widows, and we're going to run out of time, but you have a widows ministry?
Yes.
Yes. Widows, men and women, or just
Yes,
women?
men and women.
Elderly or
Yes.
young or all ages?
All ages. I mean, because you have widows from 18. I mean, from if you get married at 18 and your husband passed away, you're a widow. And
true.
yes, so the widows, and you know, normally we speak of widows, we're speaking of 60 and 70 years old that says, you know, I'm not going to remarry. Jesus is my husband. And sometimes, you know, the Bible tells us that we need to reach out to them and love on them because Jesus told us, it's a commandment that he told us to do, reach out to the widows. And I'm excited about reaching out to the widow because oftentimes they're the one that have a lot of wisdom. The
Okay, yeah,
motherly
true.
love
That's true.
and the motherly figure.
And the nurturing.
And the nurturing
Right.
that we need as a church.
Right.
And remember the widow that gave a mite, that gave that Jesus, that gave the 2 mites, and what she did, Jesus said, will be always be remembered. And so, and amen. And that is a ministry. They have given hearts.
Right.
They have a lot to give to the ministry. And Jesus wants us to live on them. And amen. It's a type and shadow of Jesus and his Father as well. But I can't go off into that. But amen.
Well, we just have to have you back. We're always running out of time.
Wow, we'd
My
love to
guest
be.
has been Pastor Ken Hartfield. His church and where he's located is at the bottom of your screen.
Yes.
Just make a visit out there. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have a loved one with Alzheimer's disease? Would you know? Caring for a person with Alzheimer's disease. 136 pages of information you need. This book is produced by the National Institute on Aging in association with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This publication is free. You only pay shipping and handling. If you have an older loved one, you need this information. Call now 214-376-9000. That's 214-376-9000. Or go to estherdavis.com.
My final notes today really concerns the crew here at Lincoln High School. They are all seniors. And while they won't come on the show per se, I do want to call their names. You see their names at the end of my show as the staff or as the crew. But Stormy Foster has been my production assistant for the last, has it been 2 years, Stormy? 2 years.
Wow.
She will graduate from Lincoln High School and she enters the Navy in June and she's out of here.
Wow.
The second one is Jodeci Johnson. Jodeci is on camera 1 and Jodeci will be going to college. Where are you going, Jodeci, again, please? Columbia
Wow.
College. So he graduates in May and he's going to Columbia. Deontay is the director, switcher. I have to say hello to his pastor, Dr. T.L. Brown at the exciting Irving Cedar Church. And he's off to the Army, right, Stormy? Okay. He leaves, does he leave at the same time you leave? You guys leave at the same time? Great. And Gervais Dunn is the young lady I've known since she was born. She is off to UNT.
Wow.
My grandson is here today, my oldest grandson, who is now just doing all kinds of marvelous things. I can't even start to describe what this kid is doing.
Awesome.
But they are all wonderful young people, and they have not been in any trouble. They are the joy of our lives, and I want to take this time and this opportunity to say thank you for all of the work you've done. When I come into the studios of the Mighty Tigers at Lincoln High School, there is nothing I have to do but just look cute and be up here. They take care of everything. So thanks to all of you guys. You don't know how much I love you, but I will see you before you graduate. And to you, my greatest audience, the greatest audience in the world, you're absolutely still the greatest audience in the world. Thank you so much for watching us. We'll see you next time.
When I lay down my weary head and hold you in my dreams, the moon and the stars above me in this enchanted scene. If I had the wings of an angel in dreams, to you I'd fly. Tonight when I lay down my weary head underneath the cowboy sky, should you cry, I jump on my pony and ride through the skies over prairies till I stood once more by your side. 'Cause lately it seems all I see in my dreams are dreams of you. Should you cry, I jump on my pony and ride through the skies over prairies till I stood once more by your side. 'Cause lately it seems all I see in my dreams are dreams of you. 'Cause lately it seems all I see in my dreams are dreams